Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts, Vertek and Chibi Bree, are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today is episode 91. 91. That is 9 away from 100. It's a whole lot of nines and ones there. I love it. But we're calling this one Testing Paradise. We have our guest here, Half Tilt Gamer. Hello, sir. So for those who don't know, who are you? Especially since we are getting rated with 143 people. Thank you so much, Paradox. Hello. Let's see if we can keep this hype train going.
There we go.
Chill Dragon, hi, welcome in. Grumpy old man, hello. Hope you brought the chicken.
So, who are you? What do you do? And what brought you to Ashes? Tell some peoples.
Hello, everyone. Hey, it's been a minute. I am Half Tilt Gamer. I am, I guess, I will say former content creator for Ashes of Creation at this point. I've got caught up with a lot of family life and just busy outside of the game and content creation right now, so taking a step back. But big fan of Ashes. I'm still here testing it, still hanging out in the community, probably lurking more than being active nowadays. And I gotta say, I came into Ashes, it's been just over a year now, I think, since Lazy Peon's video kind of came out. And
I think we had you shortly after that.
Yeah, I think it was October or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, something in there.
October, November. So I was on the show last. So thank you guys for bringing me back. Appreciate it. And
I like, by the way, I like Grumpy Old Man's comment here. Everyone is former now, though, until they recreate the program.
Do you want to elaborate by what you mean by former?
So, yeah, I was never one of the official content creators like Jalon Paradox here. I was never part of the official program. I wasn't even aware of Ashes of Creation when that was a thing. So this for me is I came in and I was already streaming and doing YouTube around another game that I was happy to step away from at that point. And Ashes I was in search, I was in flux for a while, and then I saw the video about Ashes and I just fell in love. And I fell in love with the passion of the studio and the vision, and the open development process, that whole concept really spoke to me, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be involved with it from a ground level. So I started just making content around Ashes.
Yeah.
I've taken a step back from doing that content, my Twitch and YouTube channel. They are there, but I am not active on them right now. So maybe in the future that'll change, but I'm still a happy member of the community. And I will still be here testing. I will still be hanging around on podcasts and chit-chatting with people when and where I can.
Yeah, speaking of that, when I was asking him to join us again, he was like, so I kind of stopped doing the content creator thing. Are you sure you still? I'm like, are you kidding me? You're part of the community. Of course we want you on here. Like, just so you guys know, we don't just do content creators. If you are a part of the community and you just want to share your insight on your experience with Ashes of Creation, you don't necessarily do your own like podcast or streams or something. Maybe you just do fan art. I don't know. We still want to, your information, your opinions, your thoughts, they're all super important. You know, we want to hear them.
It just so happens to be that most of the people who are comfortable getting on a camera and on a mic and talking in front of a bunch of people are content creators. Non-content creators just typically aren't as comfy with that. So if you are, feel free, let us know. We'll have a chit chat and maybe get you on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
Also, hi Z, thank you. Just real quick, the Captain Fluffy, Chill Dragon, Strauss, and Lady Tilts, thanks for the follows. Thanks for riding that raid train right on over here. And we have a lot to unpack with Ashes of Creation. First, though, what exactly, because I'm just kind of curious, what is the goal of your Paradise channel?
Originally, I created it in place of the Half Tilt Gamer YouTube channel that I was running on. to simply have a fresh start in the algorithm with the channel only being part of Ash's. So I've done a lot of listening to like Devin Nash and Harris Heller and folks like that on, working the YouTube algorithm and things like that. And one of the things that apparently can be put you behind in the algorithm is having a mix of content, a variety of different games or things like that on your channels. And because I had an old game on my old channel, I thought, you know what, let's just create the new channel, move over there. I recently just had to get a new logo after a whole DMCA fiasco. And I'd been wanting to use the name Tilted Paradise for a while. That's the name of my Discord. And I went on YouTube to do a search to make sure nobody else already had this channel before I tried to create it. And apparently it's some Fortnite meme dual world thing. I don't know. I'm not a Fortniter, but apparently it was a thing. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go with this anyway. It fits what I'm doing. So I took all of the videos from my old channel that I thought were still relevant and basically had to download them, copy all the text, the descriptions and everything, and re-upload it all to the new channel. So that was a good 8 hours of work. And then the following week, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm done with content for now. So that was a great use of time, but the channel is now there should I decide to come back and focus on something in the future.
There you go. Well, hopefully we'll see your smiley face coming up with new stuff again.
Yeah, definitely.
But until then, I just gotta say real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw what's that, Lady Tilt in there? Is that the other living half of the half tilt?
That's my better half. That's my queen.
Is she also into Ashes?
She is keen on the game and following it, but is not. And she'll definitely be playing, but she's not part of the testing right now. Springing 2 $500 packages is a little more than what we can do right now. So
So the important thing is
she'd be there.
So the important thing is 2 half tilts do make a full tilt towards gaming. Then, yeah.
You better believe it.
All right. I like it.
Oh my gosh. I think he was just sitting on that as soon as he saw her, just like sitting on that dad joke.
I was. You know me too well.
Jokes.
Of course I know you too well. I've known you since 2017 when the game first came out in Kickstarter.
Indeed.
Me too. She agrees. That's a good thing. Oh, now that's a dangerous question to be asking, Basil. He's asking who is more tilt, you or half tilt, or lady tilt. I don't know.
More tilt. That's going to be the smallest member of the household, our 2-year-old. Yeah, she's more tilt. she's all tilt all the time.
You should just have the name of tilted 2-year-old. Just works.
I think my chats used to call her mini tilt because she comes barreling in the office every now and then and come sit on my lap and tear the desk apart while
oh my gosh,
and then leave for greener pastures,
as they do.
Goodness.
But yeah, mini tilt was her name, and I think my son's too, actually. It's just all the kids are mini tilts.
Nice. Oof.
So then, with your sporadic pop in, pop out with the content stuff and testing and all that, has anything stood out to you recently, as far as just the game itself, like doing any of the testing, whether it be something that popped up like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, or just today, like anything that you've been just kind of shocked by or surprised by or just made the most noteworthy?
I would think the thing that I was honestly most surprised by was just the level of positivity received around within the communities, especially people that aren't like regulars here in the long-standing communities. When I went through Twitter and Reddit after the first weekend NDA lift, I was very impressed with just the general reaction of people considering the actual state of the game. And yeah, it's true, it does look better than a lot of finished games, but for an Alpha 1 environment full of bugs and crashes and glitches, I was impressed with that. Lately, I think the coolest thing, I hopped on yesterday just to test out the combat changes that they pushed out, and I was actually pretty happy to see where that's going. I think there's still definitely some work to be done there, but it was nice to see them actioning community feedback on this type of thing. And this isn't the first time, as Faisal has mentioned before, they'd iterated on the combat from APOC to make it what it is now, because it was too floaty before.
Right.
It did feel a little floaty again, but I think when they start to add more of the character animations in there and a little bit more of the polish, it's going to feel pretty good. But action mode actually felt good to me yesterday, and I had previously been very against it.
Okay, so now I myself have not had a chance to test it all this week. They got the split attack stuff set up now, right? Yeah.
They did put out a video for those of you interested. We have that in our notes as well, showcasing. So if you haven't seen anybody actively playing or showing off specifically the combat, there is the video up there. But yeah, I had a question for you. Considering our conversation that we had with Jalan last week, what to you is the definition of floaty combat? What to you defines or makes you feel like the combat is floaty? And how would you define that floatiness, if you will?
I think I for me, it's kind of synonymous with what I would consider arcade style combat, in the fact that you're simply, it's like playing Street Fighter in arcade mode versus in more of a hardcore mode where you're just sitting there mashing buttons kind of thing, pulling off your combos, versus actually having some cause and effect to the timing of what you're doing and everything.
Okay.
Now the timing doesn't really come down to in Ashes the same way for the trade-off of combos and a rock paper scissors format, but it feels just kind of like you're just there beating on things as you dance around, and your character feels like they're kind of floating around a little bit. I play a lot of Diablo 3, probably very similar to that. You just spin to win, kind of run around, just holding down the auto attack, and you can just float around your target.
Yeah.
And the enemy just sits there spinning on its center point, and you can never get behind it. So I think when they start to add more torso and leg animation into especially some of the larger weapon swings, and you actually not so much rooted into forward momentum for a 3-hit combo, but maybe for that initial first half of that swing when you're trying to raise your weapon up and put some energy behind it, that you are kind of locked into a bit of emotion there versus just roaming around just like you're flinging fireworks or something.
I'm imagining that right now, actually.
Sparklers, that was the word I was looking for. Sparklers.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like sparklers stuffed in the end of like the Christmas wrapping paper things.
Yeah.
There you go.
Strauss, I would say as long as it doesn't take you an entire year to recover from surgery, you should probably be good by the time Alpha 2 comes out. Not saying Alpha 2 is coming in a year, but I'm saying don't expect it in a couple of months.
Yeah.
If it comes out in a couple of months, cool, but I'm not expecting it to.
Yeah. And I would have to say, a little bit late on the remark, but I would say I would agree on the surprised at seeing that much positive reaction to the alpha. I honestly expected more, not necessarily from the community that's been involved constantly, but from, say, streamers and other people who were just hearing about it or just seeing it, somebody else playing it live and whatnot. I actually expected to see a lot more passers-by that just happened to glance at it and go, oh, that looks like garbage. That's so buggy. That's so terrible. I actually expected to see a lot more of that. Instead, we're actually seeing people, oh, that's an alpha? Damn. Okay.
To be fair, that was my experience with the Kickstarter. Seeing the way that they initially, imagine a little bit less of a cleaned up version of what you see here. But that is what they had for the Kickstarter. It was still very pretty. It was still miles above like other games that I'd seen. And that was before they were even truly getting into creating Alpha Zero and everything like that. They had a little bit of the world setup that they're showing off at PAX and things like that. And that is what got me into the game, you know? So just seeing people's reaction to how well, yeah, Mage Face still haunts me.
For good reason.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But I mean, I am happy to hear how well it is received because, you know, I have been wrapped in this Ashes community for 3 years, you know, but part of the things that I like to do is take that step back and go back a year or so and take a look at the difference in the just overall look of the game, how well it looks, how well it's acting, how optimized it is, and things like that. We're even seeing even still new stuff coming out where like, yeah, the face could be optimized, but hey, the armor is getting better.
Yeah. Some of that armor they showed off recently.
Oh yeah. They just put up, I think on the 3rd, armor set that you can get only in game, not through the cash shop. I mean, hey, Cash App is money, and that's how you buy stuff from the Cash Shop technically, so not too far off. But yeah, ketchup.
Cat's up.
Cat's up. Cat's up.
I almost said Cash App, which is an application that people, kind of like Venmo or PayPal, that people are using these days. But yeah. Either way, it's just nice to have proof still forward that the stuff that you can get in game doesn't have to be worse than the stuff that you can get in the cash shop.
And I think we'll probably see in a lot of cases that it might be better.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, everybody's got their own choice of flavors, but
not to mention, I would say one giant difference between the two was the cash shop item is just purely cosmetic. There's nothing to it. The item you get in game is not only good cosmetic wise, but it has stats to it. It has substance to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be a huge game changer.
Yeah, like what was it? Since we're talking about it, let me go ahead and get the link out there for those that for some reason hadn't seen it yet. I don't know why. But the armor that looks like Shredder, holy mackerel.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first, as soon as it came up, I thought Shredder. And I was so happy to hear Steven say it. And I'm even happier to hear you say it too. The more people that saw this just validates my own thing here. That face mask is on point.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And man, like it's not even like the cheesy Shredder. It's like the badass, like the one, like the Shredder outfit.
Right? The ones like the one that we grew up with as kids, not what you see out there now.
Do you mind tossing that up onto the stream for people to see? For some people who don't have.
Yeah, I'm working on that now.
Okay, cool. Mainly for those of you deep in the future, one day when we finally finish catching up on our videos, and you're watching our stream and you don't have that link readily available. Came out 2 days ago. Oh no. Yeah. So Z says, okay, I have an important question. What TV show is Shudder from?
I need to know first if you're being silly or if you're being serious, because if you're being silly, I'm going to give you a silly answer.
I do believe she probably is being serious because there's a lot of pizza in the show. And as we all know, Z is a huge fan of pizza, so.
Oh, she is, so she'd probably really want to know.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Oh, I just like all the answers that are coming out, but I have a reason.
Batman movie.
You know, I'm gonna out Vertech a little bit here. He still has a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt, and I tease him every time he wears it. It's really adorable, but Yeah. See, but
I feel you. I'm with
I
you.
feel a little different because like that's anime. And
It's
not
still
like
a cartoon.
yeah, it's still I like cartoons too that are anime specifically, but I just like teasing him because it's just it's like if you've ever seen an adult person wear a child's shirt, that's just what it reminds me of, and it's kind of funny. I just enjoy it.
As long as it's not child-sized and they're trying to squeeze
no.
in there, then
No.
No, it's full size. It's normal size.
It just looks like you took a child's shirt and you made it adult-sized to me.
Yeah.
In
it
the
looks like a little
nicest
kid
of
shirt, but
ways.
it's adult show. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They're mutants. It's clearly adult.
The mutants. Mutants. But yeah, that armor right there is freaking nuts. Like,
Yeah.
if that's going to be in-game obtainable, that already looks more badass than most of the stuff that's come out. If not, I mean, depending on your
Right.
perspective, all of it that's come out for cosmetic
Yeah.
only.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting take on it too. Is I agree, it does look more badass. A lot of the other armor that we see in cosmetics is very over the top in terms of that fantasy style, whereas this is something that is believable that you could actually see somebody wearing.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I expect a guard to wear this or something.
I get a very gladiatorial vibe
Yeah.
from the chest piece,
Yeah.
and Shredder from the helmet.
Cause like the gladiators had like the skirt plate kind of looking thing. So like that's where I'm getting that from. I don't know what to call it. I'm so sorry, guys.
Girdle?
Skirt
that's
plate
all
is
right.
what I'm going with.
Skirt plate.
Yes.
But yeah, let's see. Faisal even says the armor reminds him of Warhammer.
Ooh.
And I am going to look up. if this
Avarat, thank you
is
for
this breaking
stopping in.
news?
And thank you for the 3-month regular ship. I don't know what to call that. So that's what you're getting, regular ship. I'm just gonna make up
Regular
words as
ship.
we go. Just gonna make sense. But yes, I will. Alpha 1 has now been extended to August 15th until 6 p.m. Pacific time rather than Friday.
Ooh.
All right.
So thank you, Ad Heriges, I think is how you say your name. Thank you for letting me know, and I can confirm given the Alpha News server. So yeah, it was down a lot more than I expected to be down, considering they're saying that they're trying really hard to not bring it down at all. But obviously, when you have to make changes to a server, you have to bring it down. You have to update the code. You have to
Yeah.
restart it. That makes sense. I also believe that they were dealing with another DDoS attack over the last week.
Weekend.
Yeah. And so they were mainly experiencing that on Thursday and Friday. And so the changes to help with fixing that stuff really took a couple of days. Yeah. I like your name, OnlyFans.
Yeah, I know. Why am I drawing a blank? Simorg ended up, or Phoenix. However you know him as.
Yeah.
He ended up. Part
Man
of his
of
little
many
videos that he
names.
clipped was sitting there trying to watch out for someone who was like sniping people or like killing people just randomly. And it was just bananas. He was sitting in town. It was crazy just because of the ambiance of his background and everything. It was like a murder mystery. He was like, well, let's just sit here and see if it happens again. If it doesn't happen again, it could totally be a server bug. But
Oh my gosh.
if it does happen again, then that shows intent. That shows somebody's out there doing something. And he's like
Yeah.
looking around the screen, and out of nowhere, his character just poof, and dies and falls over, and he goes, oh. Like he was about to have a heart attack. It was great. If you haven't seen it, I'll have to look up the link for it. But yeah, definitely check his channel out for a little short.
That's
it may have been a
hilarious.
clip. I don't know.
I love it.
I just know I saw it, and it was the most fantastic thing I'd seen all day.
Also, we still really want to do, I believe, a section where we take some of the funnier / most epic clips from streamers that are streaming Ashes of Creation recently. It's under the YouTube Shorts section. Okay, perfect. But we would like if you guys will share us with the links to like some of these funny clips that you come across as a viewer or as somebody who found it because somebody else was sharing it, etc. Please send it over to us because we would like to get more community stuff in here, not just the art. You know, we want you guys enjoying the game. We want to show off like your epic moments. We want to show off your like moment when you try to polymorph and then you just fail horribly, like like me and APOC pretty much. So
there you go. There's the link. I went and dug it up real quick.
Perfect.
But I just love because he normally has like his background kind of dark anyway, but just the ambience of that, well, along with him sitting there, it was a really tense moment. Like, what's gonna happen next?
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Hear that? Zip, no more art. No, I like art. I'm just saying that's not the only thing we want to show off. We want all community stuff. We saw that one of our favorite, what do you call it? Comic strip artists were back at it with making fun of the conversation that they were having on the live stream about the toad booty. Toadstool booty.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
That was hilarious.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. But,
let's see. Let me get that one out there.
Oh yeah, definitely a must-have. It's one of my favorites, to be honest. But so okay, Half Tilt, do you play ESO?
I have not.
You have not. We haven't played ESO either, so the first conversation that I found was somebody looking for information. Oh, I think I may have gotten that wrong.
There you go. I just put that the mushroom butt out there.
Perfect. There we go. Yes, I absolutely love this. I'm here for it. Investigator armed here, ma'am.
That's a mushroom that does some squats right there.
That seems to be the problem. Rogue magic. And what am I looking at exactly? A mage is casting the Gluteus Maximus spell on the local flora. I see.
Can you solve this?
Solve this?
There's definitely a few cracks in this case. Yeah.
Gotta love it.
That's fantastic.
Dad jokes, best jokes. Just saying.
Indeed.
That's right.
Indeed. I'm one of my favorite things I'm looking forward to with Ashes is being able to have it where you can have your character out of the middle of the screen and you can just take like environmental shots. That'd be really fun that'd be fun to do, and then also maybe be able to bring it into something and then maybe like trace over and just kind of try to do like that stylized art piece. I say trace over because I have no art skill, so I'd have to trace over everything just to make sure it looks good, and then try to draw like color it in. You know. For some reason now I imagine a golem squatting. I imagine like a golem with like a giant column above him, just doing like squat weight presses.
Power squats with those boots on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Boy, but yeah, as far as other conversations in the community, this is kind of there's a new topic somebody else brought up. A Scottish dodo on Reddit brought up something that we actually talked about last week with Jalan. What do you think, good sir, about ammo on bows? Would you like to see it? Would you hate to see it? And have you seen any game do it, quote unquote, properly?
That's, for me, I love the idea of that is something that you need to manage for your character. At the same time, I hate the fact that you have to manage something extra for your character. You know, it really, it's, you know, when I just want to sit down and play and just chill, I don't want to think about, you know, those kind of like, oh, I just ran half an hour across the world where there's no fast travel to go and farm at this spot, but I forgot to buy new arrows. Well, guess that's my gaming session for today. Is tied up with that. So on that front, not a huge fan. I think it would be really cool if there was like just a very basic level arrow that was kind of a default if you didn't have something in your bag that you could still use, but then you could maybe craft or buy from other people arrows that offered something more. That you could then equip, and you would have a quantity of them that you would work through. I think using those arrows in your special abilities, depending on what those special abilities are, I would prefer not to consume them with that, and to keep it more for your auto attack and maybe just general arrow shots, not something that's like a magical arrow shot, which really doesn't need to consume the arrow for. But something so that, it allows people to still get out there and play in a game where there's no fast travel. Having that extra respect for casual players' time, I think would be really good practice. Yeah. But I want to see fire arrows. I want to see lightning arrows. I want to see poison arrows, frost arrows. Like, I want to see those special arrow. Maybe it's got a broadhead on it that will inflict more bleeding damage to the enemy. So those types of things where you can customize the arrowhead or something, and that takes crafting.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like an arrow +1 or something like that, where it's something different than the base arrow, because playing, I love Horizon Zero Dawn, but running out of arrows really sucks. And then you have to go forage for like things to make more arrows with. But otherwise you just try to go through other things, not arrows necessarily. But the only caveat with what Aberrot was offering, which is buying arrows, is if you're in the middle of nowhere far away from somebody and when you run out of the arrows, then what are you gonna do? Because as a ranger, I'm pretty sure in things like D&D, you can pick up your arrows afterwards and like clean them back off if they're not too damaged, and
that would be cool.
Reuse them. So yeah.
See, I've always been of the opinion that tanks spend way more money than anybody else when it comes to raiding, because of course you gotta have the buff food, you gotta have the hit point pots, but repair bills. Everybody in a raid is gonna die 15 times, right? In a night, maybe 20, who knows. Tank's gonna die 15 to 20 times as well, but in between those deaths he's getting his armor beat to smithereens. Now, in order to balance that out, I'd be okay if archers or rangers, anybody who uses a bow, could have, say, unlimited ammo, but it's only like 80% effective, so the average whatever person could totally get away with that. But people who are a little bit more hardcore or serious about raiding are going to buy extra ammo to make sure they get that extra 20% damage. So make them spend a little bit more money. With mages, just make them drink more mana pots. Clerics, they're keeping everybody alive, so let's go ahead and just make them not have to spend a lot of money. Either that, or they could probably do the mana pot thing as well. But that's always been my thing. Like, yeah, sure, give somebody else an expense, because tanks sure as hell have it, and it's not always covered by whatever you find in the dungeon. But outside of that, I think it's silly to require a ranged person to absolutely need to have ammo to do any damage out and about.
Yeah. I mean, we also had a gentle conversation on this last week about like how far into realistic is too realistic for a game. When does it stop becoming fun and becoming too much like reality? Because at the end of the day, the game is supposed to be fun, not a life simulator.
You don't want to micromanage the small details. That's
what's it they say about D&D? What's the D&D saying? The rule of cool?
I have no idea. Yeah.
If the game has to be cool, it has to be fun, it has to be engaging, and if it's not cool and fun and engaging, nobody's going to want to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
So every once in a while, you got to bend a rule because it's going to be superseded by the rule of cool. you need to make it not punishing for people to just play.
Yeah.
Like,
And
strategy
I think,
is needed, planning is needed, but, you know, have fun.
and I think that you had a really good point there with, you know, having a basic non-consumable arrow that's just always there that does like 80% damage. Like Aberrant said in chat, rogues will never optimize without poisons, but a rogue can still do things without poisons.
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly.
it's optimization, right? By
Yeah.
having the option to purchase or craft arrows that you can then stock and bring with you, you can optimize as well. And I think that's a proper approach. That, and if you are going to do this, please make a single arrow stack, regardless of the type of arrow, stack up to 999, as long as you're sticking with a 3-digit bag space column.
And weigh basically nothing.
Yeah, don't make it a hindrance to play the class based on that, because that drives me insane in other games. Like I'm playing a lot of Valheim right now, and the arrows weigh next to nothing, which is fine for most of them, but they only stack up to 100, and you burn through those. So you carry a couple stacks with you, and you have very, very limited bag space.
Yeah.
So now you're traveling a lot more because you have to move things around. So
yeah, and that was the problem I had with my World of Warcraft Huntress back when they did have ammo, before they removed the need to have ammo, because there was like so many stacks of arrows, and most of my bag space, because I didn't want to run out of them, was filled with arrows.
Or warlocks and soul shards. Same.
Yeah, exactly.
Same difference.
And you know, it's like Z's saying there, it sucks so bad to go into a progression raid, wipe over and over and over, and your hunter has no ammo left.
Yeah.
But let me propose this to you, because this has happened a couple times. It sucks to go into a progression raid and wipe over and over and over, and your tank has no money for repairs left.
I'm really hoping, because it's not just simply going to be a monetary repair bill, that there's going to be a lot of crafting component behind it, that your guild is going to kind of rally around and support each other that way. That's how I would hope and expect the group to be performing. So
yeah, exactly. But another conversation that I kind of was interested in was talking about the fact that they updated skill passives, and they're asking the community in general, what kind of passives would you guys like to see? And that's actually a good question. What class do you primarily play? And what passives would you like to see for your class?
Interesting. I haven't. I didn't catch that they added new ones in. I will have to go check them out. Right now, I've been playing everything pretty equally. Haven't because I do want to be a ranger. That's the one that's really standing out to me. So I'm just kind of testing out everything that I can that kind of fits what I want to test. I made a tank yesterday so I could test the melee combat changes. I've been playing a mage before that because the wand was a lot of fun as a machine gun, and playing clerics because they're OP as hell to solo level with, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wand is bananas, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of passive skills that add stats to you. That doesn't feel like a skill to me. That's an enhancement to your character, and I think stat increases like that should be done through gear. I think things like regeneration, the health regen, mana regen, is something that, yes, you could consider a skill, but simply having here's 5% more crit chance or here's 15% more crit damage, I don't think that's a passive ability. And that's something that I think should be brought in elsewhere. So I would like to see passives that augment, not in the same way, I shouldn't maybe use the word augment with ashes, but that modify or add a characteristic to your abilities or your current play style, even if it's just an auto attack thing. I would like to see more passives along that line that it kind of enhance a play style or help you define a certain play style within that character role.
Now, hear me out here. I'm gonna have a I totally respect your viewpoint on there, like Aberrat says, and I can totally see that. But so imagine that you have two fighters next to each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them is more lithe and nimble, and say he's focusing on getting critical, like he's focusing on weak points, weak point attacks. That's what he's doing. And then you got another fighter right next to him that's all about brute force, just smash somebody's face and kick their knees in. That's all he's doing. So he's big and bulky and brawny. Would you not say that that could be exemplified by just one of them choosing critical strike rate and one of them choosing strength? Like in their background, that's what they're doing. One guy's pushing weights and the other guy's jumping through tires and like acrobatics and stuff. Like that's what they're focusing on in the background. So it really does kind of exemplify a specific play style that nobody else is going to be able to get just by getting the same gear. They're going to have to choose those passives as well as the same gear.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, you could even go a step further in the mental games of it and say lithe and nimble, weak point finding fighter uses a serrated edge, like a survival knife or something like that, or even like a Vorpal knife that's all like really nasty when it goes in and comes out, right?
Yeah.
And so that's going to have a whole lot of critical damage to it. If you hit a weak point with that, you're doing a ton of damage. So then as a character, he needs to focus on critical rate, like finding those weak points and actually hitting them. And then the weapon itself would deal more damage if you do hit them.
Okay. No, I agree with that. I do very humbly agree with that.
I like Wood Chip's
I
answer.
will change my stance on that one. Enhanced feral.
Well, yeah, and then from a whole other perspective is from the healer's perspective. Being able to do more healing over time is an important thing. Being able to crit higher when healing occasionally is important too. And it kind of really helps with the fine tuning. Like if you have two half elf rangers, you have subclasses, you have class feats, and you have all these other things that both have the same stuff to choose from, but they can become two very different halfling rangers, especially in D&D stuff. So I enjoy that because it allows you to fine tune and kind of build things the way that you want it to make a little bit more sense. Healing, yeah, exactly. Single targeted healing versus more of a group healing. Do you want to be more of a druid from World of Warcraft, or do you want to be more of a holy priest from World of Warcraft? One focuses really well on single target heals, the other focuses really well on area of effect heals and mass healing, things like that. And I feel like it's really nice because as somebody who is like a little hesitant, I've never really played Discipline Priest. I haven't really ever been super interested in Discipline Priest, but that is kind of essentially what the cleric is in Ashes of Creation. You take life to give life, and I respect that balance of life. In order to give somebody healing, you have to take that life from somewhere, some other life form, and it kind of has a druidic feel to it, even though we don't have an official druid class. But it's just, yeah. Can you tell I'm a little salty about like the druid thing? I'm like, I want a druid, but at least you can still have the secondary things from the skills. Now, do I think that right off the bat as a level 1 you should have access to extra crit damage? Not necessarily. It depends on what class you're playing and how your background is, but a little bonus to regaining mana each time you attack or something like that might be useful as a starter. And then the whole point of point buying in is, as you get stronger, you have more points to buy into better passives that you would like to have. Or I think there was buying 3 stacks of my whip skill allowed me to also give Vertec as the tank mana regen. And
So I
that
can
was like
actually
a
keep
game
threat.
changer. Yeah, that was a huge game changer. As soon as I got that up to 3 and we had another cleric that was running with me to actually be more of the Healy cleric and I was just more of the support cleric, that changed everything. We went from struggling to take down mobs, the 3 of us, to like flying through them. Where sometimes he was like, do I even need to hit anything? I mean, you two got it.
Pretty much it. I'd be
So,
pulling and just grabbing everything and getting its attention, and they would just wail away. I wouldn't even be
Yeah.
able to take any hits.
yeah, exactly. Life still should be a passive. I don't know. Maybe at a higher level I could see it being a passive. Because I don't know. I feel like giving too much too fast makes it less appreciated later, for lack of a better way of saying that.
Yeah,
And
and
for,
in a game where leveling is actually supposed to be meaningful, like it's a journey, it's not just a race to the level 50.
Yeah.
Because the game starts at end game. No, the game starts early on. So when you introduce skills,
Fair enough, Abra.
actually will matter.
Yeah. Aberrat was just saying scalable, make it really low at first, which is a fair call. Like there's numerous ways you can build stuff. There's so many different ways you can do it, and I enjoy that. So
yeah. I guess catch up on a few other chats that have gone through. So Gildumbra was asking, how often does Vertek get his haircut? Anywhere from 3 weeks to a month and a half. Depends on what's going on. What type of beard oil does Half Tilt use?
I forget the name of it. It was actually a gift. Normally, I don't use beard oil. I'll be honest. I often don't. I forget that I even have any. And yeah, this was a gift from brother-in-law. So
aw.
There
been
you
using
go.
it a bit lately.
And Z says,
yeah.
have a passive to have magic arrows, which that I wouldn't be opposed to either. Having a passive that costs a couple talent points, give like a little bit of an edge to something, like, you know, reduces damage but adds a slow or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Be pretty neat.
It always is, Aberrat. It always is.
Gildumbra is asking, whatever happened to racial passives? I don't know. I've always liked them. Apparently that's old style and nobody likes that anymore. I always
Yeah,
like it. As long
'cause
as they're
even-
minor.
I was gonna say even in D&D they have Tasha's Cauldron, which basically says no, ignore racial passives. You can assign whatever you want now, which isn't bad. You can design the character that you want more so, but it does take away more min-maxing meaning in terms of like specially choosing which race and class to use. Because some people apparently are like, don't choose your race first, choose your class first, and other people are the opposite, choose your race before your class. Like,
Honestly, I've always chosen race and class based on what I like and what I want to play and what I want the character to be. If I'm caught between two different races, then I would look at the different racials and say, okay, well that one will do something extra in this area, so cool. Because I mean, in the end, really, what does 5 more jewel crafting do for you when you have 800 points at your max? It's not even 1% gain.
Yeah.
Not even 1% gain. Like, it does nothing for you, really. It's a flavor thing. And at some points, you're going to feel like, ooh, yay, I have a slight edge. Cool. But it's not game breaking. It's not giant.
Yeah, I think bonuses to professions and things like that are really good ways to go with racial abilities. Having things that really affect your performance in combat, I would lean away from. You know, World of Warcraft definitely was a good example of why. If you weren't the dwarf priest, then you don't come to the raid. If you're not an undead rogue, then you're gonna lose in the arena. You know, like there was very specific things that you needed to be optimized, or you're just not going to stand a chance against people that are running that. So if you're super casual and don't care, you're fine. But if not, then if you want to be competitive, you've now drawn the short straw. You know, you put yourself behind the rock to get started, and it's going to be a hard go. So I think Intrepid sounds like they are aware of that and not wanting to have that be a thing. So I'm curious to see where they go.
For like, this is really, really old information, like super duper old. I think this came out let me grab that in a new link so I don't lose my place. Like, I want to say 2017. Yeah, 2017, pretty much. Ashes of Creation, instead of going towards more of the racial passives, like seeing in the dark better or whatever, they're doing more of like foundational principles of each race and subrace. So, like, what does your race and subrace stand for? And for example, the Kalar are extremely loyal to their roots. The Valoon, they are like one of the wealthiest empires in Sanctus, etc. So it's interesting to see how they take these things, like for the Kalar, the build, the order, the civilization. Like, what does that mean in terms of gameplay? How does that translate? And then for the Valoon, the trade, the law, the hardships, perhaps they are more prevalent at making coin because they're better at like being a wealthy empire, I suppose. But it's like, how does this translate? What does this mean in terms of gameplay and Vex ship navigation? Yeah. Yeah, and exactly. Other than appearance of nodes, do those really have game impact? We don't know. It's really kind of old information that they gave us back in like Kickstarter days when everybody was like super excited about stuff, and they're pumping out some content for us to follow. Never know if they've changed those things necessarily since then, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I think the racial augments were things that it would add to the list of things you can choose for your skills. Like, so it looks this way or it looks that way, or it's presented in a certain way, and someone's going to say, oh, that's so-and-so because that's what their skill looks like.
I do know that it was definitely going to augment node visuals. And more Kalar, more Valoon, more Vec. Like, the predominant race was going to affect the predominant styling of the node. So and
your armor appears.
Yeah, your armor, the quest lines. Perhaps it has more to tie into like the type of quest lines you're doing. If you're in a node that is more Valoon, perhaps you're talking with wealthy merchants who perhaps are owed money from more of the common folk, and they're like, we've been waiting for them to pay their dues, and I'm tired of waiting. I need to collect now. Or like, perhaps with the Vec, you're going off and trying to help the local oracle with something, you know. So, never know.
Hey, fun stuff.
Yeah. I could go on about that forever.
Yeah.
If anything, that'll be a reason to have a bunch of alts so you can go through and experience some of the different storylines for the different races, where they came from, and you know how they live their life just day to day, to be honest.
Exactly.
That's going to be really cool, learning the different histories from Sanctus.
Oh yeah, I am super excited to see like when they start blinking out more of the quests, so you don't get the full exactly what's going on with the quest lore. It's like a bunch of blinks, like, or like maybe like gibberish that makes no sense. Or, you know, maybe they'll pull a whole Game of Thrones where they give us a completely thrown off not the actual lore, and then change it all up for official. I don't know. I feel like that's way too much work, but
the old bait and switch.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that they rehearsed one ending, and then there are 3 different endings, and they didn't tell them which ending was the actual ending until it went live. So they had no idea which one was going to be like the victor.
No spoilers.
Nope, no spoilers.
That's the biggest thing I hope when we get to the point of beta testing and we're starting to see a lot more of those stuff in the game, is that we still have placeholders for quests and just an absence of lore in general in the world.
Yeah.
I don't want to be spoiled ahead of time or have that spoiled for me.
Yeah. Abrat says that they think they have the quest writer position open. Somebody should apply. I'm not sure who they're responding to about that. I just want to make sure I'm not in a dwarf node. I hate to bang my head on the ceiling.
Well, the easiest way is to just be a dwarf then, would you? And you don't have to worry about it.
Or a really short elf.
Fair enough.
It could be a really short. I play a 4'10" wood elf in my D&D campaign. I'm practically a halfling.
Wow.
You know. What do you mean? Wow, you're a 7 foot tall artificer in that campaign with me. Did you forget how short I was?
Yeah, half the height of me. No, just when you say it, it brings it back into mind. Like, wow, that's for serious a thing.
That's why occasionally I'll have my character say she looks all the way up at Taki.
Standing anywhere near me, she does have to look straight up.
Yeah, just like. But no, that's my height. I don't have dreams of being tall because that is my height. I'm trying to be realistic. I'm trying to like bring myself into D&D world. Just
might be calling you extra shorty.
I know. I'm trying to turn it around. Oh man.
Loudy.
For those of you that missed it, we had a whole entire How Short I Am conversation last week when Jalon was bringing up about his daughter accidentally hitting things with the car until she realized you could pump the seat up to be higher. And mine is not only pumped up as high as it can go, but I also sit on a pillow.
And booster pillow.
It's embarrassing. I try to find a booster seat. They don't make anything for adults, so...
Just don't put the arms on the side of them. You're fine.
Yeah, well, maybe they have something like that now, but it's always
they don't have
awkward.
telephone books anymore.
No, not really. They stopped delivering those ages ago. Plus, that would just like sink into my seat a little bit, I think.
Bum bum bum.
So the old blocks on the pedals.
No, he offered that. I said no.
Yeah, I tried to. She wouldn't let me. Actually, what's funny, Woodchip, is if I just go like straight forward like a hug, like I would with
literally like
guy friends
the
or
top
whatnot.
of my head.
Yeah, I literally end up like giving her a bandana and just squish her head.
Yeah. So.
Oh man.
So. Races and bodies types.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm not certain what exactly they were getting at, to be honest.
So like I think they were trying to figure out how the different races will look regarding like will the dwarf be a typical dwarf? Will the etc. look like this? But I think it was also trying to compare it to other games in terms of style, perhaps.
Yeah. I guess they're trying to figure out, like, will it look like this kind of elf, or will it look like that kind of elf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why...
Whatever has the highest intel from our archwizard.
Nice. I like it.
The race is only the seed.
The thing that the reason why I put it there is because I was actually going to ask you guys. It was more of a reminder because they're asking about other video games. Is there a video game that you felt like they nailed this race? Or they nailed this class? This class is the way that I was thinking of this class to be. For example, in Final Fantasy XIV, Bard is an archer type, primarily, with a bunch of other cool little skills that they can do. And then you have the dancer, who's more of like, to me, the bard. So like, is there something, I see Final Fantasy 11 summoner? Yeah, okay, I could see that. I haven't really played too much. Vertex, the one that played 11, but yeah. Is there a game that like you felt like they did something right, or even a mixture of them?
I think so far everything, at least in my opinion, has been good in its own universe. Like, it may be different than something else, but it always seems to fit well in its own universe. Yeah.
Okay. Is there something that you felt like they did it right for you, for like what you would imagine this to be like? Not necessarily in a universe, but if I said you're playing a bard, do you have like a preconceived notion of what a bard should and shouldn't be like, kind of? And is there a game that has filled that, or a class? Sorry,
Okay,
race.
if you're talking classes, I'd have to think about that one specifically.
Yeah, I'm talking about like the bard class, the way that the class runs. Is there a game that felt like it did it right for you? Not necessarily just the bard, but just that was. I have bard on the mind. I'm sorry. Strauss likes the EQ one for the best bard. Abarat thinks that options are good, but you should not have to pick a certain race to be optimized at your role. I agree, Abarat. That's actually why I am completely for Tasha's Cauldron for D&D, because it allows you to essentially override your racial feats or your racial skill sets to put it in however you want. So, yeah. SW Star Wars Galaxy Permadeath Jedi. Okay.
Yeah, playing a permadeath Jedi would have made me into a picture junkie and video junkie for sure. I would have had so much footage of this character because I know it's going to die someday and I'll never see it again.
Half tilt.
I if I'm gonna pick out any one class specifically from games I've played, and when it comes to MMOs, I probably haven't experimented with a ton of the different classes in them. I've never played a bard. The rogue in old school WoW felt really rogue-like to me. The warrior felt really warrior-like. If we want to get out of that universe, I think of like, say, Devil May Cry. Some of the early Devil May Cries had a very good, just kind of like demon hunter, badass kind of character feel to them.
Yeah, I could see that. I like Devil May Cry series.
For me, it's class identity. And have not, like, where do you draw the line between every class can do a little bit of everything versus this class does this only, but it does it really well? Do you want a jack of all trades, or do you want a master of none, or do you want a master of something?
Yeah.
And I prefer the class roles where you're the master of something and you're very, very good at what you do. When I think of the rogue, I think of stealth combat. I think of sneaking around. I think of espionage. I think of subterfuge. And in a game like Ashes, that's very exciting. I think of the ranger. I think of just a bow master, really, really good with the bow and setting up traps and, possibly taming animals. Well, that doesn't necessarily have to fit with the ranger.
Yeah.
It's a hunter thing. So yeah, there's that part. I feel like the fighter class in Ashes on paper looks like it's going to be a mix of a few things. And that might be breaking away a little bit. If it's more of a monk style character by design, I think it would be really awesome. But if it's just kind of, hey, you can do all the things melee combat, then it's going to feel a little off-putting that way. So
for me, Assassin's Creed did a really good job at what I felt like a rogue would have been like, especially for some of them when you can like dive into the haystack real quick or like blend into a crowd by just talking, like being around a group of people and like getting that crowd like shield kind of thing going. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed Thief for the same reason. If anybody's played Thief on PlayStation, that also had a really good roguelike feeling where the objective was to not get caught. You had to sneak around physically instead of like rushing into combat. You had to figure out, okay, as a roguelike person, how would I solve this problem? And I like that just coming from like D&D and Pathfinder in general. It just, you're trying to think in terms of the character, not in terms of like, I'm gonna go smash his face in because I'm a barbarian, like, but things like that. But I don't know if that was a cat or if that was a tiny human.
I think that was my 2-year-old. yelling at
Yeah.
something. I have
Because it
noise
wasn't
on
canceling
our
headphones,
end.
so it's hard to hear it. But
Yeah, it wasn't on our end. I heard it from like somebody else, and I don't think Bertek has a cat hiding in his closet.
No.
So yeah, no, it's
No,
not.
Z,
Oh
no.
my gosh, Z,
Bad Z. Bad Z.
bad. Go to your corner. Speaking of artist corner, Horrendous was asking about cosmetics, and we have new cosmetics for this month. I always love talking about cosmetics.
Yes.
Just because they look pretty. They're the shinies. But Vertec wants to say something really badly.
Yes, I wanted to talk about the classes.
Okay.
So Druid, I think the best Druid that I've ever played has been with WoW. Unfortunately. I mean, I only say unfortunately because I don't enjoy the game as much as I used to. I wish I still enjoyed the game as much because that was fun. The Druid, just the choices and the identity between them. They also did Priest really well, like the healer, the classic healer feel. However, the best rogue experience I've ever had was in Star Wars: The Old Republic. SOTOR, the infiltrator, it was fantastic. Fantastic. Like even just the whole what did they even call them? Agent, right? Yeah, that class in general, just the choices you had between them were fantastic. You could still be stealthy and sneaky and whatnot as a healer, shooting little healy darts at your friends.
In terms of Overwatch, it's an Anna.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, basically.
Anna was actually the first time I ever, because we tried multiple times to get Star Wars Galaxy to work on my computer, but no. My computer was like, why are you trying to make me run this game? But Anna was the first time I saw a healer where you literally shot your teammate to heal them, and I was like, what is that? It's like a barbarian who wants to become a cleric, and they're just throw rocks at their teammates, and the rocks like heal them instead of hurt them. It's just, that's what I imagined. Just like, take healing, dang it. Like
take it now.
Wow.
But yeah,
Healers is not something I've played a lot of. I did play the Druid back in the old TBC days quite a bit.
Yeah.
In all its forms, and Resto was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, I liked Resto.
That was a good one.
Honestly, just Resto in general has been one of my favorite healing experiences around. That and honestly, I was a big fan of the Discord Priest.
See, I just preferred Holy Priest, but I was also kind of bored by it half the time. It was like, Holy Priest is like, it's your classic healer, but then there's like Shadow Priest where I'm just like, what even are you? Like, are you damage? Are you a healer? What are you? And then there's like, Disc Priest, which I'm like, I have to keep a bunch of shields up on everybody and kill things at once.
Yes,
That's too much to manage. Because I would lose track of when the shield was up, and I was like, "Oh my! How long has it been gone? How long have you been taking damage?"
It's been gone for a long time now.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, see, that's the type of stuff I loved, though. It was fun. It was fun. But yeah, now we can move on. Let's do the things.
The shinies.
The shinies.
Oh yes.
Bom, bom, bom. So these cosmetics are interesting.
Yeah, I actually am not really interested in any of them for once.
I actually
for twice.
Uh-oh.
For twice. The first one was like the plague-stricken ones where I was just like,
The set that didn't die. The set that just would not go away.
Yeah.
At all.
I was just like,
The Red Death set that lasted for 6 months.
Yeah.
I missed all of them.
Wilson.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I like these. They're flavorful, I will say.
That
I may not...
face mask screams to me fighter gladiator mixed with a little bit of like in touch with the not nature side of things. Like he took a level or two into druid, but he's mainly a fighter, a gladiator.
See, this just, I don't know. This just almost screams like necromantic ranger. Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be a class choice in there somewhere that this would fit really, really well, because I don't know, it just looks too badass. I may or may not be interested in buying everything. I'm not saying I'm interested in buying it all, but I actually do enjoy this set.
If you want to be a rogue in a forest biome, this is your camouflage. This is your ghillie suit right here.
Yeah, horrendous.
You go
was just
stealth and there's no nameplate, you will not be seen hiding in the foliage.
Horrendous
So-
was just saying, I wonder if the mount in the costume would be good for camouflage to avoid being seen.
That's my thought.
No,
I think
so,
it looks badass.
Yeah, me too. So Strauss, this is the character art concept art of the cosmetics. It's going to be about a month or so before I think we see them flesh out. In fact, we just recently, in the most recent test, saw the Snorse be fleshed out, which a lot of people were actually not as excited about. They felt like it lost its charm a little bit. So
The Snorse
Snorse is just a meme now, and it's
it was also
like whatever.
nightmare fuel. Like the way, oh man, it was something scary.
Here's a good question that I saw pop up on the forums a lot of.
Uh-oh.
What are your guys's, like, you chat too, what is your thought about the fact that a lot of the things that we're seeing are mashed together animals? Do you like them? Do you not like them so much? Are you kind of indifferent towards them? You like some, but not really others? And to preface this, some of the people on the forums and the Reddit were like getting a little frustrated because they felt like it was just taking an easy way out, just like mashing these creatures together instead of going after something. If anything, I feel kind of like the opposite in terms of the skill that has to go into rendering and putting these things together. It's a little bit more difficult than, oh look, it's another imp. Oh look, it's your typical bats or a typical spider, you know. There's a little bit more to it, but anyway, what do you guys think?
I think Z is right. People need more things to moan about. People need more things to cry about and get upset about, and they're just finding the next thing. Because
I will second that.
I mean, let's look at it really. Like, you could put in all the same stuff that you would see in normal real life, right? You got bears and horses and deer. Oh my. Like, how exciting is that, right? You could totally rip off whatever other actual truly unique and magical creations have come into some other game, right? Or you could make your own unique and magical creations that, yeah, they're going to draw inspiration from other animals and stuff. Not every creature has been a mashup of something else. Like, it's been, hey, this is a cat type creature. Why should every game have a cat type creature? Because the cat form and just the cat physique is basically an apex predator in every form of its weight range. It is an apex predator because it's just designed that way. Like, it's got a perfect design for that. Same thing with like sharks. There's going to be a shark type creature in the water. So
yeah, I just wanted to know like what your guys is, not just like should they do it or shouldn't they do it. It's just more like, how do you guys feel about it? Do you think they're cool, or are you like kind of indifferent towards them?
I'm loving them.
Yeah, I love it. There's a mix too. There's a lot of fresh, fantastical designs in the game. It's not like they've only done this.
Right.
I think what they've done is exactly as you said. It is still creative. It's to come up with how would these two animals blend together and to come up and make it look kind of believable yet awesome at the same time. That takes talent. That takes skill. And yeah, as Miss said in chat, it's probably a pretty good insight sneak peek into how the animal husbandry system is going to work, because that's essentially what's going to be happening when you start breeding these animals together in the game. Is there going to be a mashup? So
ooh, I like
there's a lot
what
of
Lady
things.
Tilt said. Yeah, I agree. My favorite animal to this day is the grass bear. The bear with like the fauna on its back. I love that one.
Bear.
Yeah, the enchanted bear. Lady Tilt says, I think they should ask other fan artists to create the next creature and pick one of them or something like that. That would be kind of cool. Like, hey, what kind of creature do you think you would see in ashes? Like, don't pick one that we've already made, pick one that I like. And just seeing what people think of in terms of like, what have you seen inside of ashes already, and what can you draw inspiration from with that? Get out? No, never. You can't make me.
Never.
There's so many mounts now already. I think we have enough for launch. They could always add more later. I agree, but just because there's enough out already doesn't mean that. So these are monthly, means after this month is over, you can't get it again. You can get it currently in game, but that's it. And it doesn't matter if you bought it or not. You have to have that type of mount before applying that skin to it. So you don't have 300 different horses. You have 300 different horse skins. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's an obnoxious number, but that point proven.
There's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Horrendous says that this is a stage 3 building. And they said if they say that it's a shrine, then people that buy it thinking that they could just put it on their house would probably be bummed. How dare they put horses in game? It's been done before. Do you think sales are going down on freehold building cosmetics because of the lack of info? Honestly, I don't know. I only buy things when I'm interested in them personally. I don't really think about the freehold info.
Yeah, I honestly, I think it probably has.
It has to affect it some way, I would think. Mm-hmm. Not knowing, is that cosmetic only for the building, or is it going to influence your entire freehold plot? Because if it's just for the building, if it doesn't match the biome that you've decided to settle in or have been kind of forced to based on availability, then it's going to stand out like a sore thumb and might not appeal so much. Whereas a mount, you just roam around with it. So
I like this grave beast. It's pretty cool.
Yes.
It looks like
it's a sick mount.
Something you rode into a battle with, and it was ferocious and it took part of the battle with you.
And see, that's what I'm going to be looking at for me, is going to end up being maybe the mask and the armor and the mount. Just so I can literally ride into battle, like you said.
Yeah, for me that like in terms of role play specific, that mount looks like it would protect its owner in a heartbeat.
That tail clearly looks like it's got a stick up its butt.
Oh yeah.
Fair enough. It's a very crooked stick.
Yep.
I mean,
it's
made of branches.
Get the mount. I love the mount.
Yeah.
It looks very
the mount,
similar
the
to
armor,
a forest
and the
Yeah.
creature.
Anyone else thought Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors when seeing the wretched Raphesia for the very first time? Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long.
They are.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I see it. Yeah,
I can see that.
That's probably what I'll end up getting, to be honest. Is probably going to be like maybe the armor and then that pet. Because I don't feel like spending that much money to buy all the stuff that I would actually enjoy to get from this. Because the armor and the pet and the armor, the mount, and the face is going to be like, what, $60 or something. I've spent so much money on this game already.
Horrendous thought of Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast. With the 2 candlesticks.
Yeah. Oh, lordy.
If they didn't break the curse in time, this is the next phase of his evolution.
Yeah, right.
He turns into the rose slowly but surely.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that would be a Brothers Grimm twisted story ending.
Wouldn't it?
Where he turns
Wouldn't it
into the rose and she has to like pick the rose or whatever, and thus eventually killing Lumiere. Hashtag ruining Disney. Oh man.
Oi, but yeah, speaking of the pangolin inspired courier that Z is all about, Didn't somebody just do some new art on that?
Yes, they did. It was really pretty. I believe it was like hand drawn.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Let's see if I can get
saw
that pulled up here.
This is from Aaron. I think is how you say their name.
It's a close enough guess. I'll allow it.
But it's pretty much.
Boop, boop, boop,
I
boop.
think it was one of their coloring pages they had. Because they said the courier must be a fan favorite because it's taking over our Fan Friday segment. Aaron K. Sorry, I should have noticed the capital K. Did an amazing job coloring this. Why not give one of these coloring pages a try and tag us in your finished version? Because I think there was like World Coloring Book Day or something at one point, and they put out a bunch of these like line arts that you can color. So
I can remember that.
it was really pretty.
I forgot about that. But yeah. Either way, the shading is beyond my artistic capability, so it's still fantastic.
Yeah,
I agree.
I am a solid colorer.
I try. We went out with a bit of friends, and we ended up at some point getting crayons and the kids menu, and I was trying to color. There was like 4 colors. That was it. And I was trying to make the sun orange, and I had red and I had yellow, and that was it. So I'm trying to do like a bit of yellow, and then I'm trying to do a bit of red, and I'm trying to do a bit.
Alternating.
It just did not turn out the way that I would like it to.
Crayons don't blend well.
No, they don't.
I tried my bestest.
Speaking of things that don't blend well, Woodchip's trying to commission Z to make an elephant Smurf mount.
I like it.
Okay.
That could be interesting.
Is it Smurf? Is it the people? Smurf, the little blue guys. Oh, loudy.
Goodness. I think that's kind of it. Like, they updated the skills, they have new cosmetics, they did combat changes, achievable in-game armor. Yeah. Is there anything that you feel like you'd really like to talk about before we end our show tonight?
I think I've covered pretty much anything I had on my mind, and
right.
So
covered a lot.
It was very thorough, and great discussion. I love it. But
yeah.
I don't think I have anything new to introduce.
Okay.
Right now.
Can it be an elephant with something else? Ozzy.
Nope.
It must be a smurfulent.
Elamurf?
Elamurf?
A smurfant?
Yeah,
or an Elamurf?
I love it.
I don't know. Try to come up with the craziest things I can think of in terms of crossovers. All right. Let's see.
Uh-oh. What are you Did you
I'm
find
trying to
something?
find our next victim.
Ah, yeah, that's something we're going to need your help with, folks. Help us look up who we should raid.
Preferably within the Ashes community and somebody who has a smaller view count than us. But if your favorite creator who is a part of the Ashes of Creation community is not playing Ashes of Creation currently, we would also like to raid them. We did raid 10 Man last week. We can certainly raid him again if you guys all want that. But we do like to try to spread the love a little bit.
We do. Does anybody recognize any of the names that are streaming at the moment?
Besides Simurg, no.
Yeah, besides Simurg and 10 Man.
Yeah, and now 10 Man because of like last week.
Because
Simurg
we love us some Sim. We do. We're trying to spread the love to some other folks as well.
Smaller people.
Ben's
Babies.
is the only other one I've watched personally.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Tech Deck yet.
I haven't either. And there looks like to be somebody who primarily speaks Spanish because
Las
of...
Aventuras de Perle.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's a moose.
Moose.
Yeah, I could certainly read a moose.
All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's check out. I'm gonna take a look and see what this tech deck's like.
Okay. Yeah, Sim is on. Sim is also a bigger creator than us. We, as we mentioned, we would like to spread the love to somebody who has smaller following, smaller viewers than we have.
All right.
Tech Deck has been helping run group bosses on Linus. So
Oh yeah.
what's
Okay.
better than community than helping to run group bosses?
There you go.
Yeah, I'll take that. Cause that is
Alright.
definitely trying to help out community and get stuff going, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a height thing.
All right, here we go. All right, we have the raid ready to go. And then I think we have to do our ending and then actually stop streaming.
Yeah. Actually, stop streaming this time.
So.
All right. Well, any last words, sir? Any last words?
Just hey, thank you guys for having me on again.
Thanks for
appreciate
joining
it.
us.
It's been a pleasure, and
Yeah.
keep up the great work with the show. I am super excited to see you guys hit that 100th episode. Cannot wait, and yeah, just thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
See you.
thanks
Hope to see you
definitely for
guys in the
stopping
game
by.
soon.
Yeah. And thank you guys for joining us. You can be anywhere doing anything with your time, but you're here with us and you hung out with us this long, and hopefully you'll join us to go raid Tech Deck and help promote community organization stuff. So if there's one thing we love, it's people helping out each other, helping out the community. So
True story. True story.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us and spending your time here. Have yourselves a happy weekend. Love you all.
see ya.
Take care,
And
everybody.
rating. 3, 2, 1, go.